Today, our guest is Ron Etchells. And I met Ron just really a few weeks ago as I had taken my first CCW class to learn how to not only have a concealed weapon, but then how to respect that weapon and how to respect the privileges that go with that certificate that you have. And since then, we've had a couple other classes, and he is just an amazing instructor. He is a weapons trainer with the NRA and certified for classes for us citizens who want our CCW permits. Welcome, Ron. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you, Jenny. It's great to be here, and I thank you for your kind words.
Oh, well, let me say thank you first for the classes, and the information that you give in those classes is absolutely beyond any expectations that I had. But let's have a little bit of background about yourself. You're passionate about Americans being able to uphold our Second Amendment rights. Why?
Well, I grew up on the far side of the fence, on the north side up there in the Great White North of Canada, looking over the fence and watching Americans having all the cool stuff. Now I find myself on this side of the fence by the grace of God, and I'm a full-on American citizen, and I know what America was, and that's what I want it to be to this day. I grew up on the dark side, and this is the land of the free, and here I am.
That's great. Now, I've been to two of your classes, and each one I've learned so much. Explain why your classes are so detailed. Now, when we decided who to have come teach this class that we opened up for the NorCal Tea Party people, and by the way, we had a huge attendance, had to turn people away. But your classes were so different, and some people were saying, well, why do I need such a long class? We only need 8 hours, and yours was like 12 hours. Why is your class so different?
Well, I truly believe that knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have, the more power you're going to have over your adversary or just everyday life. It's a huge responsibility and should not be taken lightly. I basically cram a funnel in your ear and pack in as much information as I can in a day, nonstop. It's not a slow class. It's not a tiring class. There's no time really to get tired. It's high energy. Everybody gets involved in every aspect of it, and it's go, go, go. And it allows you to sit back afterwards for a day, a week, 2 weeks, and simmer and let that knowledge really sink in, and then come back and take me up on my freebies of the training to really hone those skills. So it gets you in the game. It's intensive, but it's the only way to go.
Well, a couple of things that I noticed, Ron, was while you're doing the theory part, it can be lighthearted, and we get a few chuckles at ourselves and at some of the comments you make. But once we get up there on that firing line, it is no nonsense, and you are intense at making sure that we do it right. Why?
Well, there's only one opportunity in your life to present your weapon and use your weapon with proficiency and safety. Safety, safety, safety is the largest issue. You, of course, carrying a gun, dealing with a gun, manipulating your weapon every day in your life with a concealed weapons permit, you are your own worst adversary. So it's mission critical to me that you have that knowledge, that experience, and you hear my voice every time you touch that pistol so that you don't hurt yourself. The safest place to be is behind the gun, obviously not in front of it, and just have to drive that one home.
You know, just before we came on the air, you and I were talking about that more and more people are getting their CCW permits, and that I had heard a while back a report on Fox News about there's a place in Texas now that allows kids 8 years and above to have birthday parties at the firing range. And part of that birthday party includes instructions on how to safely handle a weapon and how to safely use a weapon. And Alan Combs was on the other side saying, this is how Columbine starts. And I loved what you had to say, and I'd like you to share that.
Well, my words to that one is that's how Columbine would have been prevented through gun safety. I mean, it's just crazy with the closet gun owners out there and kids relating things to video games and not quite taking this serious. It is a very, very safe sport. It's safer than driving. People spend a lot more time educating their children towards driving a motor vehicle than handling a firearm. And here we are today with irresponsible behavior out there in society, which threatens our well-being.
Now, one of the things that you teach in the class is, what is our battle?
Our battle is ultimately for our own personal well-being, our rights, our human rights to self-defense. I mean, there are countries out there where it is unlawful to defend one's life with any sort of violence. I don't understand what those countries expect you to do when someone is beating down your door and is ready to kill you or a loved one.
Another situation that you explain in your class that was such an eye-opener to me is when you would use your weapon. Under what conditions would you use a weapon?
Well, there are legal conditions that exist, and it's whether the assailant has the ability, the opportunity, and intent to cause you grievous bodily injury, which in a nutshell is you are a cornered cat. All else has failed, and you must deploy your weapon to save your life.
And that's what you teach.
That's exactly it. It's all the disciplines involved in carrying.
You gave a few scenarios if we were in a bank.
Yes.
Okay. Want to give that one? I thought
well,
it was
this is a common
fascinating.
one. I've been doing this one for years. There's a whole lot of everything that goes into carrying a gun in public. You roll into the back parking lot of a bank in the middle of the night, and you see a big fancy SUV in the corner and a cute little blonde gal in the front seat, and she is hollering for life. Help me, help me, help me. He's got a gun. He's going to kill me. He's going to kill me. Outside of the vehicle, you see a rather large man with a gun to her head, and he is barking orders to her of get out of the car. Before I kill you, get out of the car. Give me the car. My scenario to everyone who has a firearm and a concealed weapons permit is, what would you do in that situation? How would you deal with it? Which of the parties is the threat to you? And that's where people fail.
Because neither one is the threat to you. And you talked about a situation where perhaps that person with the gun that said get out of the car was a law enforcement officer trying to arrest a person. Or
absolutely. It could have been myself protecting my grandchild who was in the back seat because it's my vehicle, and I just stepped out to the ATM machine to make a night deposit, and the gal in the front seat is a bad person, whether it's a drug addict or something else bad going on in society. We don't know the parameters, therefore we should not engage. We are not law enforcement officers.
That's right.
We are not mall ninjas. We're not RoboCops. We are just everyday civilians with the privilege to carry a firearm at the ready to defend our lives if we
our
need.
own lives or our loved
our
ones.
own
That's
lives.
right.
Absolutely.
And I wanted you to say that because so many times people think that if you have a concealed weapons permit, that you are just this crazy, outrageous